I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse. Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like told me, keep on running, toes they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back with another episode. And today, you read correctly, we talking about the first round of the college football playoff. The first game starts tonight at 8 o'clock. Then we have 3 more games tomorrow with Miami versus Texas A&M being at noon. Now, I will say I do wish that Miami versus Texas A&M was at 7:30, 8 o'clock. I do wish that. I wish they did JMU, Oregon at the 3:30 spot and then Tulane, Ole Miss at noon. But hey, it's here. We got playoff football, so can't really complain too much. But let's get into. Oh, wait, before I get into these first rounds, I would like to discuss my record. So currently, I am 150-81 on the college football season. So 231 games picked. In the bowl week, I went 5-2. I'm gonna just throw Saturday into this week's bowl week. I went 5-2. I lost the NC State Memphis game that just happened. Memphis got dominated, and I lost Missouri State, Arkansas State, which most State really got dominated. They came back at the end, but it's a little too late. But other than that, I got Old Dominion right. I got Boise State right. I got Jack State right. Shout out to Jacksonville State. Got them right. Got Delaware right, which who's that? Ryan. I mean, not Ryan. I'm thinking of Carson Ryan from BYU. Carson, hey, thank you for the drop, my boy. And I got Western Michigan right, which that was very dominant. But I'm gonna talk about those games in totality, except for the Boise State Washington game. I already talked about that one. I will talk about Tuesday through Saturday, probably on Sunday morning. So just wanted to explain my record. 5-2 for the bowl so far, 150-81 on the season as a totality. So shout out my brother in the comments. He said, let's get right for the playoffs. Absolutely. And we're going to jump right in to the first game, the only game tonight. We got Alabama at Oklahoma. Now, Alabama lost to Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa in the regular season, 23-21, I believe. Bad pick 6, scoop and score 6. Just a bad fumble and a punt return. A lot went wrong for Alabama in that game. So Alabama is looking to get right. They also said Alabama hasn't lost to a team in the same season in a very long time. I forget the year since this happened. I think it was like 1879 or something like that. But we also seen a 79-game streak broken by Troy. Now I get it. Troy is not Bama, but streaks are streaks. And what I've learned in sports is sometimes when a streak breaks, no matter the difference of level of play, it just might be the year where streaks get broken. So Troy had a 79-game win streak when going up in the fourth quarter, which was broken by Jack State, who came back and won the Salute the Veterans Bowl. Will the streak of not losing to the same opponent in the same year and for the Alabama Crimson Tide? We'll see. But for Alabama, they have to protect Ty Simpson, and that job got a lot harder now that R. Mason Thomas is expected to be back for the Oklahoma Sooners, who I believe has not played since the Tennessee game in which he got hurt. So that is a big addition for the Oklahoma defense and a big worry for the Alabama offense in that O-line who struggled to run the ball. Speaking of running the ball, they got to find a way to establish the run. They couldn't run the ball against Oklahoma. They couldn't run the ball against Georgia in the SEC championship game. And to be honest, his offense has been really bad of late. So they gotta find a way to establish the run. Now I know people saying, which the stat is true, Alabama ran from -3 rushing yards in the game against Georgia, but the difference between that and NFL is count towards rushing yards. So let's just say my running back had like 20 yards on the day, but I got sacked for like 30 yards at quarterback. They're gonna say you rushed for -10 on a day, even though your running back had 20. Shout out to you, my boy. Thank you for watching. But they gotta establish some type of run. Have to. They gotta contain John Mateer's legs. They cannot let John Mateer beat them on the ground. You gotta turn Mateer into a pocket guy. Let him beat you. You gotta make him beat you through the pocket. Which Oklahoma offense also has been kind of stagnant of late. Shout out to you as well in the comments. Appreciate you. Next, 4 starting longs. Again, making him having to beat you with his arm. If you got him in 3rd and shorts, they got the whole playbook to work with, even adding the quarterback run. And the last key I have for y'all is to protect the football. Alabama, like I said, had a lot of turnovers in that game in which they lost at home. They got to protect the football. It was still close. They still had a chance to win the game, even with those turnovers. They got to protect the football. Now, if you're Oklahoma, obviously you won the game on the road, turn the ball over, so you definitely got to force turnovers at home in Norman. So you definitely want to force turnovers if you're Oklahoma. You got to be efficient passing the football because you got to have some type of passing game for this game. You can't be one-dimensional. You got to be able to pass the ball. This Alabama defense is too good to be one-dimensional. You got to establish the run as well. They got a bevy of backs to do that. Get Deion Burks and Isaiah Santanga the ball. Those are your 2 best athletes on the perimeter at the receiver position. And finally, pressure Ty Simpson because they was on Ty Simpson line all night in Tuscaloosa, and that's why I think that offense has looked bad. Plus, Ty Simpson has been under pressure a ton since the Alabama offense has been stagnant. And again, they have R. Mason Thomas back. So that should be an easier job this go round. But my winner, I think the streak is done. I think Bama gets beat in the same season twice by the same opponent. I'm going with Oklahoma at home. Why? Because of that defense. I think that defense is just super elite, man. I really do. I think that defense is elite. Getting R. Mason Thomas back is a plus. Those cornerbacks are very sticky. So I'm rolling with the Oklahoma Sooners. Plus, I still feel like Ryan Williams is in his head. And I just think that's a huge blow for Alabama's offense. So I'm going to roll with Oklahoma Sooners here to win this at home and advance to the quarterfinals, to which they play the 1 seed, I believe, which is Indiana. So, yeah, the winner of this, I believe, plays Indiana. So I have Oklahoma, Indiana in the quarterfinal. Next, we have Miami at Texas A&M. And for those who need clarifying, I am talking about the Hurricanes of Miami, Florida. They're taking on Texas A&M Aggies. Texas A&M is 3.5-point home favorites in this matchup. This game is 12 o'clock on ABC or ESPN on Saturday at noon. So, for the Miami Hurricanes, Tennessee Hurricanes, that is, got to protect the football. Carson Beck and your 2 losses had 4 interceptions and 2 interceptions. Cannot turn the ball over against this very elite Texas A&M defense with that elite pass rushing. You cannot turn the ball over. You got to limit. That sounds like I said limit. You got to limit explosive plays. They got guys, Mario Craver, KC Concepcion, Ruben Owens can break them. Got to limit explosive plays if you're the Hurricanes defense. You got to stop the run. I think Texas A&M is heavily dependent upon the run. Like I said, they got Ruben Owens. They got Marcel Reed who can run the football at the quarterback position. So got to try to stop the run, protect the football, contain Marcel Reed, and get Malachi Tony and CJ Daniels the ball if you're the Hurricanes. Now, if you're Texas A&M, you want to put pressure on Carson Beck. You want him to feel you because he can get very Sam Darnold-esque. And what I mean by that is he starts turning the ball over when he get that pressure. That pressure starts showing up, and that's when them turnovers start showing up. So you want to pressure Carson Beck. If you're Texas A&M, you want to force turnovers. That goes hand in hand with pressuring Carson Beck. You want to establish Ruben Owens, the running back who has been taken over for Le'Veon Moss. Get Mario Craver and KC Concepcion the ball. And I think at home, 12-man Kyle Field, you want to strike first. You want to get that 12-man super hyped. I already know Kyle Field is going to be crazy playoff game, 11-win team. Mike Elko and the guys firing the crowd up. But if you strike first, oh man, that environment is turned up 10 times more. So I think you want to strike first in this situation, get that crowd super amped. But my winner, and I went back and forth with myself with this, but ultimately I said I'm gonna go with my gut. Going with the upset. I'm going with Miami. Why? Because Texas A&M, first of all, didn't really have a crazy hard schedule. Let's just put that out there. Secondly, South Carolina threatened them. They were up 30-3 on the road against Texas A&M. Now, South Carolina just not that great of a football team this year, so we blew it. Then, Notre Dame. You beat Notre Dame, but you beat them because they botched the extra point and you went down and scored on a last-minute play. Some crazy stuff, right? Cool. Your only loss at home is Texas. Texas did a great job against them defensively. They look like, honestly, they couldn't get nothing going. And that was probably their best game or best opponent they had at home. So it worries me a little bit that their SEC schedule wasn't that hard. They didn't play Ole Miss. They didn't play Vandy. They didn't play Bama. They didn't play Georgia. They didn't play these guys. So are they really battle tested? So I'm rolling with Miami. You can say Miami didn't really play a hard schedule either. I mean, they played Notre Dame. I don't really believe in Pitt, but some people would throw Pitt out there. They played Florida, which ended up being bad, but Florida got a win against Texas. They played Florida State. Florida State ended up not being good, but they beat Bama. So I'm going to get this to Miami here. I think Miami might be more battle tested than Texas A&M. Plus, Miami's working off the extra we're not supposed to be here type momentum. So give me Miami. And shout out to y'all in the comment section again. I appreciate y'all for showing up. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe as well. But we're gonna keep it moving to the third game. We got Tulane at Ole Miss, a rematch of I want to say like week 3 or week 4, where Ole Miss absolutely dominated Tulane. But I will say Ole Miss ran away with the game later, and Tulane just really couldn't stop Ole Miss's offense. Lane Kiffin's no longer there. Some of the staff, I think, is gone. So it's a little different situation. And Trinidad was the starter by then, but still, it's a little different situation. But for Tulane, first thing, you want to force turnovers. Because, again, you cannot stop that offense. So if you can force a turnover, that's a real confidence boost to say, hey, we can play with these guys. Next, red zone execution. One thing I've noticed about Tulane while watching them play, their execution in the red zone is horrible. Horrible. Now, they did a good job in the red zone against North Texas in the AAC championship game. But beyond that, horrible. Their red zone execution is terrible. Contain Trinidad shameless legs. Trinidad can run. He sure can. You want to contain his legs? Establish the run of your own. They did a really good job with Jamar McClure in the AAC championship game. He had a heck of a day on the ground, and that ultimately propelled them to the winning the American Athletic Conference championship. Got to establish the run. And I think obviously, you want to keep it close. But what I'm saying, when I say keep it close, you want to be fourth quarter. Got the ball. Down 3. Maybe 10 minutes left. Something like that. You want to be within striking range late. You don't want to be down 10 in the fourth quarter, which some teams could come back and win from that. I don't know if Tulane can. Down 14, down like any double-digit possession game in the fourth. You don't want to be in that situation because I don't think that their red zone execution and their offense is explosive enough to win that game. But if they're down 7, down 3, one possession game in the fourth, cool. I would feel much better if I'm Tulane. Now, if you're Ole Miss, you want to just put up points like you did early in the regular season. Score, score, score. Why? Because the more you score, the more they have to chase. And that's not going to end well for Tulane. Establish Kawan Lacey. If you could just run the ball, keep the ball on the ground, not worry about turnovers, it'll be an easy day, especially with no Lane Kiffin having to draw some stuff. Get Trey Wallace and Caden Lee the ball, win the turnover battle, and contain Jake Retzlaff. Their running game, I believe Jake Retzlaff is their leading passer and rusher, so he's a big part of the run game. So you want to contain him to take away a large part of their offense through the ground. And my winner, I'm going with Ole Miss, man. Um, I'm going with Ole Miss because I think even without Lane Kiffin, they still have their pieces on offense, so they still can be explosive. And although this Tulane defense is opportunistic, so is like South Florida and stuff like that. It's hard. It's going to be hard for them to stop Kwan Lacey on the ground, in my opinion. I think Kwan Lacey is going to have a day, and I just don't know if Tulane can establish the run and execute enough in the red zone to win the ball game. So I'm going to run with Ole Miss here, and we're going to move on to the last game. Oops. Oh, there we go. We'll move on to the last game. We're going to move on to James Madison at Oregon. 7:30 on TNT, True TV, Saturday. Oregon's 20.5-point home favorites in this matchup. JMU is the 12th seed. They won the Sun Belt Conference Championship. I don't know why I just blanked on that. Beating Troy, while Oregon was the first at-large bid, finishing third in the Big Ten. So shout out to them for that. Just shows how good the Big Ten was when you got the first two seeds being two Big Ten teams. Now, this is no rematch. Two of these games were Alabama, Oklahoma, Tulane, Ole Miss. But James Madison, Oregon, it's no rematch. But we did watch Oregon play a Virginia school in a New Year's Six Bowl 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. And it was Liberty. But Liberty's not in the Conference USA. I mean, not in the Sun Belt, in the Conference USA. But for James Madison, you want to establish Wayne Knight. He had a hell of a day on the ground for JMU in the Sun Belt Championship game. 20 plus carries, 200 plus yards. I think it was 21 carries for like 214 yards or something like that. You got to figure out some way to have that type of day again against Oregon. You want to pressure Dante Moore. You got to force turnovers. That's going to be key. It was key against Troy. Clock control. The best way to beat a high-scoring offense is to keep them off the field. So you got to take a lot of clock, score points in this matchup. You need explosive plays as well. Sometimes you're going to need that play that I need this real quick. Let's score real fast. You might need an explosive play. Sometimes you can't sustain a drive. You won't need touchdowns, though. I will say that. You're going to need touchdowns over field goals. Now, for Oregon, y'all can't see it, but I misspelled the word, and I'm not going to say the word. But Oregon needs to establish Noah Whittington. That'd be huge. If they could just bully JMU up front, establish the power back of Noah Whittington. Contain Alonzo Barnett legs, who's been very big for the JMU offense running the ball. If y'all remember, Wayne Knight broke a run, and then Barnett scored later the next play to go up 24-14 or something like that against Troy in the Sun Belt Championship game. Give Malik Benson the ball, 4 third and longs, and stop the run. If you stop the run of this JMU team, you pretty much put them in a tough spot. Barnett is good. He can throw the ball, but they don't want to sling the ball around the yard. They want to run the ball. They want to get big runs. If they need to play clock control, they really want to put up a bunch of points. But against Oregon, I just don't see that happening. But my winner, I'm going Oregon, man, in Austin Stadium, Oregon. And I'll get on my little rant in a minute. But I just see Oregon bullying them up front, establishing a run, not too many possessions where they don't score touchdowns. And I just don't see JMU consistently keeping up with this offense. So I'm rolling with Oregon in this matchup to win this ball game. And those are the 4 round 1 playoff games we have to look out for tonight and tomorrow. Again, the Alabama-Oklahoma game starts in about an hour and 25, maybe an hour and a half. They might do like the little 10-minute thing. They push it back 10 minutes, whatever, who knows. But 8 o'clock is the scheduled kickoff time on ESPN. So we'll just go with that. My little mini rant I was about to say was, I know a lot of people, why is JMU? Why is Tulane both in the playoffs? Blah, blah, blah. Why? It's supposed to be the 12 best teams. That was never the playoff. There was always a group of 5 spot that went to Tulane. It was always the 5 highest ranked conference champs. ACC champ Duke is not a part of the 5 highest ranked champs. There is not 5 power conferences. So you got 3 of them. You have Indiana, you have Georgia, you have Texas Tech. It got in. The 1 spot was for the group of 5 automatic. That is filled by JMU, which means you need the 4th best conference champion, which is Tulane, because Virginia did not handle business. So it's very easily explainable. You're just not listening. It's like arguing with a brick wall. You're not listening. The playoffs supposed to consist of the 7 next best teams and 5 best conference champions. That's what the playoff is consistent of. So this whole supposed to be the 12 best teams. No, it's not. Or else there would be no spots for conference champions. So if that's the case, the group of 5 wouldn't. They'll never be in because they never think they're the best. But anyway, it's my little mini rant. So please like, comment, share, subscribe. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate the new people for listening. Hopefully you stay tuned. We do have shows on the network because this is a network. And we have the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave, Tuesday and Fridays, 7 o'clock to about 8:30ish. There is supposed to be a show tonight, but it may not happen due to technical difficulties. I am supposed to be on it. So maybe you see me again, maybe not. We have Unfazed. They go live at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Right now, it's on random days when they get just due to scheduling, work, stuff like that. But it's normally on Tuesdays, and that's featuring Joe and AJ. We have BWT Baseball with Teddy. My boy Tarek Schoolball, man, he entered his name into the World Baseball Classic, so now I gotta watch. So just look out for Teddy for random episodes, news, and drops like that. FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs. Some people fantasy playoff championship started this week. Some people semifinals started this week. All I know is if you had Puka or JSN, Sam Darnold, or Matt Stafford, maybe not so much Sam Darnold because he did have 2 picks, you were raking in the fantasy points. Dave's Doghouse highlights and lowlights of sport. RBO Real Ballers Only NBA show featuring Vaughn, and In the Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Tomo. They go live on Sundays. Not every Sunday, but when they do go live, it is on Sundays around 6:30 or 7 o'clock. And that's all the shows we have on the network. So please like, comment, share, subscribe to those shows as well. I'm about to get off and watch some Seton Hall Providence until there is maybe or maybe not a show, and or until Bama, Oklahoma start. But y'all enjoy y'all rest of y'all Friday. I should be back Sunday. I don't know if I'll be back Sunday morning or Sunday in between the 4 o'clocks and my Ravens Sunday night football game. Who knows? We'll find out. But until then, I'm gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.